In 1977, lights over Brazil's island of Colares began targeting people with concentrated beams. Dozens suffered burns and puncture wounds. Locals called it Chupa Chupa. The Air Force launched a secret investigation. Nearly 5 decades later, what they documented still defies explanation. Night falls quickly over Colares, a small island at the mouth of the Amazon. In early September 1977, what began as a routine evening for fishermen and families was interrupted by the appearance of strange lights above the water. Residents described glowing spheres, sometimes tinged with red or orange, hovering low above the sea and drifting silently over rooftops. Others spoke of elongated cigar-shaped objects gliding along the coastline, their movement eerily smooth and without sound. These lights did not flicker like lanterns or lightning. They held steady in the sky, sometimes pulsing, sometimes vanishing without warning. The first written accounts appeared in the local paper, O Diário do Pará, on September 4th. Soon after, Radio Para aired eyewitness interviews, capturing the voices of islanders who spoke of lights that seemed to watch and follow them. The phenomenon quickly earned a name, Chupa Chupa, or the sucker, a term whispered with unease in fishing huts and village squares. People described the objects as both beautiful and menacing, their presence breaking the familiar rhythm of life on the island. Each night, more residents claimed to see the lights, sometimes clustered above the palm trees, sometimes darting inland before disappearing into the dark. The sense of unease grew, as if the island itself was being observed by something unknown, and the boundary between ordinary life and the extraordinary had begun to blur. By mid-September 1977, the stories of strange lights in the sky gave way to something far more alarming. Residents began to report beams of light, narrow, intense, and seemingly targeted, that struck people as they slept or moved through the village at night. These attacks left behind unmistakable evidence, circular burns, puncture-like wounds, and a wave of fear that swept across the island. The local health post, run by Dr. Waleed Sisim, became the center of a growing crisis. Between September and December, she treated at least 35 patients with injuries she described as unlike anything she had seen before. Some wounds measured up to 10 centimeters across, with sharply defined edges and a pale, almost luminous appearance. Others bore small, precise punctures on the neck, chest, or limbs, and many patients reported sudden weakness, dizziness, or even brief paralysis following exposure to the light. Dr. Sisim kept a detailed clinical ledger, recording each case, the date, the symptoms, the pattern of the injuries. Her notes would later be cited by the military and appear in police files and regional press. Newspapers like O Diário do Pará published front-page stories featuring sketches of these burns and interviews with shaken villagers. Panic spread quickly. Families began sleeping in groups, huddled together in the hope of avoiding the so-called Chupa Chupa. Some abandoned their homes altogether, fleeing to the mainland in search of safety. The mounting number of documented cases, the visible wounds, and the growing social unrest made it impossible for local authorities to dismiss the phenomenon as rumor or mass delusion. The situation had shifted from isolated sightings to a medical and social emergency, one that demanded official attention. On October 20th, 1977, the Brazilian Air Force arrived on Colares with a clear mandate: investigate the Chupa Chupa phenomenon and restore order. Under official orders from Belém, a specialized unit led by Captain Range Holanda began systematic evidence collection. The team deployed radar, cameras, and tape recorders, conducting nightly patrols and interviewing dozens of residents. Over the course of several weeks, they compiled hundreds of pages of field reports, medical annexes, and technical logs. Their work produced more than 500 photographs and hours of 16-millimeter film, each item stamped and cataloged for the military archives. Questionnaires were distributed to 84 witnesses, their accounts joined by medical records and signed officer statements. Every detail, including dates, locations, and symptoms, was documented and sealed under the official stamp of Operacao Prato, creating one of the most extensive government UFO files in South America. Captain Uirange Holanda, the officer who led Operacao Prato, later broke his silence in a series of interviews in the 1990s. Sitting in a Sao Paulo studio, Holanda described objects that seemed to react to the Air Force team, shifting course and changing speed, as if aware of being watched. He spoke of beams that behaved with intent, sometimes following the investigators, sometimes pausing in mid-air, as if waiting for a response. In one interview, his voice steady but tense, Holanda insisted that the lights displayed what he called intelligent behavior, a pattern he could not explain away as tricks of the atmosphere or mechanical error. His accounts, now preserved in broadcast and radio archives, offered a rare glimpse into the mindset of a military commander confronted by the unknown. In May 1997, just months after his most detailed testimony, Holanda Mulla was found dead at home. The official report listed suicide, but the timing and circumstances have fueled decades of speculation. His words remain among the most unsettling in the official record, blurring the line between witness and investigator and leaving the case more unresolved than ever. The debate over the Chupa Chupa centers on three main theories. Atmospheric scientists point to ball lightning, rare plasma orbs known to appear in humid, stormy places like the Amazon Delta. In the late 1970s, similar events were recorded along Brazil's coast, but no laboratory evidence connects ball lightning to the burns and punctures found in Colares. Another theory involves secret military testing. Declassified files show Brazil's armed forces experimented with high-energy microwave and radar technologies nearby, but no direct link to the injuries exists. Sociologists suggest mass hysteria, shaped by isolation and local folklore. Yet this view struggles to explain the consistent medical findings documented at the time. Nearly 5 decades on, the Chupa Chupa scars Colares, as hundreds of Operacao Prato files, remain partly sealed. Until full transparency, Brazil's most documented UFO mystery endures, unresolved and still unexplained.